is the one.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome along to the wilds of Suffolk. I'm out here yet again doing what I do, walking along in beautiful locations such as this, giving you my thoughts and opinions on things that are happening in the world, in the public consciousness. If it's your first time here, welcome. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing today. If you're a returning subscriber, or 1,397 of you still here, thank you. Well, thank you one and all for being here, and thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, well, it's been a while. Sorry for the delay in getting back to you and recording a video, but I have taken some extra time because of the turmoil in the world to ensure I have everything in place, secured, all the things I need to secure, make sure my food is all growing, all the usual things that get in the way of me getting out and doing these things. I've been doing all those, so I apologise for the long delay in getting out to record a video, but like I've said before, this isn't a job for me. This is not my income. I don't plan on making it a job. This is me just walking around and speaking my mind and starting conversations, and hopefully you enjoy when I do them. If you do, great. Welcome back and welcome along. But yeah, it's been too long. So let's get on with it. You've heard me rambling, so let's get on with today. Now today I'm entitling this video, Warning, This is Not a Test. So I toyed with the idea of calling it Warning, This is a Test, because really we are being tested. Okay, and that's what the video is about today. We are being tested to see who we are and what kind of society we want to live in, because all the things that we're being asked to accept and take on as our own, how we want to live in this society, are ridiculous. So we're going to go through a few of those today, and I'm going to put it to you to answer me as to what you think of what I'm going to give to you today, and what I'm presenting to you today in this video. And I want to have your opinion on whether you think I'm correct or whether you think I'm just being a crazy conspiracy theorist as usual, like I am. So let's start off with the things. Why do I think that we're being tested? Okay, now I'm 52, turning 53 this year, and my entire life this world has been sort of simple to understand most of the time. There's obviously events that take place that you have no attachment to reality whatsoever, and we're asked to accept those. But if we look back in history, at events that have taken place and the complete fabrication of the information that's being presented to us in history to distort our worldview is key to understanding why it's being done even more now. I mean, we're living in a psychological operation after psychological operation right now. I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, it was going to be, right? So, if we go back far enough in history, we can look at events that events took place, and we were told a particular narrative about those events to sway opinion, to get us to go as a society in a certain direction. So social engineers have been engineering our society to make us believe and act a certain way based on information that's being presented to us, or the way that information is being presented to us through the media or social media, or events that come up, that we have to then deal with the consequences of those that information. Hello, puppy. Hello. You're okay. Hello. You're okay. Hello. Stop, talk to the puppies. Hello. How you doing? Excellent. Sorry, just talking to myself. Have a great day. So, as we move through this reality, we get presented with different events. So if we go back to the start of the Vietnam War, you had the Bay of Pigs incident that never happened, that got America into the Vietnam War. Then you have the USS Liberty that was attacked off the coast of Israel by whom? Yeah. That never happened though. The history books don't want to write about that one. And then we go to something like 9/11. 9/11. I was in America for 9/11. I was on the West Coast. I was in LA at the time. Landed the day before September 11th. I was there to meet a movie producer and woke up to the morning of 9/11. Sorry, and it was bizarre to say the least. But we're asked to swallow a narrative that makes zero sense. I mean, zero sense, like at all, no sense at all. So we're told that some guys from the Middle East, of course, were in flight schools. They could barely fly a Cessna, but they performed the most outrageous, radical flying that even pilots of 30-year veteran pilots couldn't match in a simulator to be able to crash into those buildings. We're being asked to accept that. We're also being asked to accept from the same occasion that a building that wasn't hit by a plane, that had minimal damage and a few small fires, fell to the ground at free fall speed, 47-story building, World Trade Center 7, pancaked on itself, fell in its own footprint. We're being asked to accept that that's perfectly normal as well. You know, in recent years, we've been asked to accept that men who have a penis and dress as women are women. And we've also been asked to accept that those same men that want to, with a penis, that want to take part in women's sports and beat them, obviously, we're being asked to accept that as, well, that's reality as well, right? We've been asked to accept by these people presenting this nonsense to us through media, social media, you know, through the social engineering of our schools, you know, education, all these kind of things have all been socially engineered. And if you go back in history, you can find out where that came from and how that works, and centralisation of teaching and schooling. Did it really work out so well? You know, my kids are in school at the moment, and realistically, they learn nothing worthwhile about the world. Nothing, absolutely zero. They do cooking classes, but they're learning things that you'd never cook. You know, like completely ridiculous. Not taught how to balance your budget. Not taught about how to open a bank account or anything worthwhile to go out into the world and make your way in this world. Nothing. Zero. You're taught to be an employee. Good little sit down, shut up. We'll reward you if you sit there and shut up and don't open your mouth and be a good little boy and pat you on the head and regurgitate the bullshit that we're telling you. Then you're a good person. You're a good part of society. Don't question it. Science is settled. Huh? Mm-hmm. It's obviously the best way to educate everybody. Obviously, because, you know, are people more smart or more stupid nowadays? You know, we were told a long time ago that it was the lack of information available to people that made people stupid. And here we are with that thing that you're probably holding on to watching this video in your hand, with access to every piece of information that's been digitized and put on the internet. Are people more smart? No, I don't think so. Now, the reason I'm making this is because it's this idea, or these ideas, that we're being asked to accept as reality and as the norm by everybody, especially in Western culture. You know, in places like Africa, they just they're not interested, or the Middle East, or not interested in these Western values that say, you know, cut your child's dick off and they're a girl now, or girls can be boys, of course, and that men can menstruate and have babies. These things we're being asked to swallow and accept are a test. This is all a test. Now, COVID was a massive test. It was an IQ test. It was an IQ test and a psychological operation to just test you to see how much bullshit you put up with. I'm going to lock you down. Oh, it's only 2 weeks to flatten the curve, remember? Just 2 weeks, it's okay. Just 2 weeks, we're going to lock you down and make sure that you can't work. That's going to be great for the economy. Okay. Now, so far, as a society, we're failing miserably. We're being asked to accept that millions of people coming from third world nations are actually a net positive to our country. Do you think they're a net positive? Maybe to the social engineers and the people who are counting numbers, because the what do you call it? I've lost my place now. GDP, the gross domestic product of a country, is measured by its citizens. How many citizens you have, how much tax they're going to pay, right? So the higher the number of people in your country, obviously, the higher tax you're going to receive, unless people aren't working and they're on benefits. Now, this isn't an attack on people on benefits, or to say that people on benefits are the real issue in this country or any country, but I mean, realistically, the politicians are the biggest thieves in the world, not people who are on benefits getting 300 quid a week. I mean, honestly, but we have to acknowledge that we've got a situation where we're being asked to accept millions of people coming into the country, A, that don't speak the language, and B, that they're refugees running from persecution in their own country, or taking their families to a better place, because obviously we're bombing the shit out of their country. But it's all military-age men, and there's no women and children, or very few. We're being asked to accept that that's normal. That's normal. That's perfectly normal for men to leave their families behind to go and start a new life in a different country. Right? Right. Oh, but they're going to send for their families afterwards. They've got a job and everything. So would you leave your wife? I'm a man. I can tell you right now, I wouldn't leave my wife behind in a war-torn nation with my children while I went out and found work in a different country. If anything, I'd be escaping with my family, right? But we're being asked to accept, no, that's not the norm. That's not the norm, Chris. You see, the norm is, the men will flee, leaving their families behind. And where are the men fleeing to? Are they coming over and getting jobs and integrating into society and learning the language? Are they? How's it looking in Germany? Sweden? A lot of towns in America? Big cities like London? Yeah, New York? LA? How's things looking with a massive influx of population from third world nations? How's that looking? I'm asking you. Now, if you're on board with this whole idea of me questioning if this is a test that we're going through and we're being tested, I'm going to take it off in a slightly different direction now, which is what I normally do. Go off in a tangent, and we're going to play a little game of hypothetical. Okay? Now, I don't know whether you ever watched Star Trek, where the concept and the premise of the show was that humanity was now out into the stars and exploring other galaxies and planets with the Starship Enterprise, And the rule that they worked on in the show was that you couldn't interact with a society that hadn't yet achieved certain things, because you would be interfering in that society, in their societal progression. Okay? So you couldn't interact with a society that didn't have rockets if you had rockets, or you couldn't interact with a society that was lesser developed than you, because it wouldn't be a natural progression, it would be an interfered progression. So that was the premise of the show, right? So we are, I think, personally, crazy conspiracy theorist right here, yeah, crazy conspiracy theorist. I personally think that our progression of our knowledge and our as a society, whether our society is going to make it as a good society, or we're going to tear each other apart, like all these experiments that have been done with mice. The mice eventually don't have sex, they don't have babies, blah, 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 blah. And I think that we've been manipulated through all the mechanisms that we've been manipulated through, this, lately the social media platforms and the media, promoting messages of hate and division and general bullshit. We are being herded down a path that doesn't benefit us. It benefits the people that want us to stay stagnant and separated from higher intelligence interacting with us because we're too stupid to even know what we want, right? Or what reality is, X, Y, X, X. Okay. So I think that the test is for, okay, what kind of society do you want? Do you want to live in a society where you continually lie to yourself and believe utter nonsense? Like, let me see. Well, I've quoted this before. The quote from the Bible being, the love of money is the root of all evil. Okay? Now, I've spoken about this before, and I don't really want to talk about it because it gives credence to this kind of immoral, but it's not, immoral is not a strong enough word for it. It's just filth. This kind of filth that has been thrust upon us. This woman, something blue. Anyway, the woman who had sex with 1,000 guys in a day. I mean, she's been held up as this genius businesswoman, right? So, everyone's interviewed her. Like, and I don't get that either. Why you would promote something like that? But whatever, she's a porn actress. Obviously, she filmed herself getting tasked by 1,000 guys in a day and sold that, and then obviously sold access to herself to have those 1,000 guys come and do that. And she made a shitload of money off simps on the internet. Guys that never thought that they had a chance with a girl like that. Whatever, however they're promoting this, I have no idea. I don't understand the whole prostitution thing. Never have. Never understood it. I mean, there's plenty of girls out there that want to meet guys. You don't have to pay for it. I don't understand. I mean, maybe there's an argument for it, but whatever. But this whole idea of this woman being promoted as some kind of... I don't even know what they're promoting her as or why promote it. But there she was buying a handmade Ferrari the other day from the money that she made by getting pegged by 1,000 blokes. I mean, is that supposed to be something for my daughters to see, to say, look, don't worry if you're a whore, because only the money's important. It's just the money that's important, because at the end of the day, all that I did to get to buy that handmade Ferrari, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter about the morality of it. There's no question about the morality. It's the money that's important. The same way corporations or organise themselves and justify their behaviour of raping and pillaging and poisoning the earth, because it's corporate profit. It's not personal. It's business. You see, it's business. It's not personal. So we're asked to accept immorality. We're asked to accept governments and nation states developing bioweapons for the benefit of our society with our money. With our money, we're being asked to accept that as being normal, that should be done. And then those same weapons being released on us through, it was a lab leak. It wasn't a lab leak. What was it? It was a bat having sex with a pangolin in a wet market that sold neither bats or pangolins, right? We're being asked to accept the most ridiculous things to see just how stupid we are. What are you going to accept? Honestly, what will you accept? Now, the last 4 or 5 years has taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about society. It's taught me a lot about how the media works. It's taught me a lot about fear. It's taught me a lot about social interaction. And this is why I've been out here doing these talks. I come out here and I speak my mind. I've interacted with a lot of you personally. You know, I don't make any secret that I am far from perfect. I mean, honestly, I've got everything wrong in my life. You know, every sin you can imagine, I'm probably guilty of it many times over. I'm not proud of it, but that's why I always find it astounding that I'm out here talking about morality when I've got most of my life wrong, and it's me having to bring it up. That's the thing I don't understand. Like, people say to me, oh, as you've gotten older, you're more of a prude. I'm like, I don't think I am. I think the world's just gone more and more off the rails. The older I've got, as the years go on, it just gets worse and worse. You know, this idea and concept of what we hold to be important in our society has been eroded down to one thing and one thing only. It's money. You know, money is the all singing, all dancing, all driving force of how this world works. Everything else is secondary. Morals, forget about those. You got some money in your bank account? Yep, good. You're good. Yep, good for you. Now, I thought about how best to present this video and the questions I should be asking of myself and of the viewers of this. Why do you think, if you accept that this argument if you accept that the argument is that we are being tested, who's testing us? Who's testing us? Now, you know, I listen to a lot of different content. Okay, so I listen to economists, I listen to people talk about gold and silver, cryptos, obviously a lot of crypto stuff I listen to. I listen to a lot of political, geopolitical, crazy conspiracy stuff, remote viewing. I mean, you know, like it's a vast amount of information I come with interact with. Sorry, can't get my words out. It's been so long since I've been out here. I come into contact with a vast amount of information, and I try and process all that and find out where do I sit in this whole understanding of how this world works. Now, some of that sort of more woo-woo information that we're going to talk about is you know, you hear people talk about the Palladians or interdimensional, intergalactic species that are here, that are watching over us, and that using that same Star Trek principle of not interacting with a species that's not yet ready to move to the next level of that understanding and societal change, it would be accepting of more knowledge about our history, how we came to be here, who we are, you know, what we are really, you know, where do we come from, all that kind of information. We're not yet ready for that because we've been manipulated by, well, let's just say social engineers to keep us in a state of stupidness, to accept ridiculousness given to us by those same people that want to keep us in that perpetual state of stupidity. Is what it is. I mean, there's no other word for it. It's blatant stupidity when you've been asked to accept ridiculous stuff as the norm, right? So we well, how best to tackle the next bit? So we've spoken endlessly about wealthy elites, as they like to call themselves. Wealthy elites, political figures like Emmanuel Macron marrying his high school teacher, who was a man, who's now a woman. We're being asked to accept that that's normal. The cocaine in a train. We saw that video the other day. Oh, it wasn't cocaine, it was a tissue, Chris. And that other spoon thing on the table, that you put the cocaine up your nose, that wasn't a spoon, it was just the top of a pen, Chris. No, I believe you. So we're during COVID, we were asked to accept a bunch of stupidity, like the world leaders were travelling in from around the world and we're all interacting and mingling and hugging each other and clinking their glasses together. Bing! Yeah, look how good we are. We're coming together to sort out this COVID thing, all without masks, interacting with each other, you know, no problem. And then you look behind them at the people serving them drinks are wearing masks. The help. Looking down on the help. Oh yes, Tony, go and grab me another champagne, would you? We got some important business to discuss here while I make out with this woman who's not my wife, right, Boris? Or who was that other clown? Anyway, we're not going to go back to COVID. It only makes me angry. So this idea that we're being subjected to blatantly false information and things that are so blatant and so easy to see through that the average person is still saying no, we need to accept that because they don't want to upset the apple cart and possibly lose what they've gained. So, you know, so there's a lot of people who are middle class or, you know, upper middle class who are doing quite well for themselves, thank you very much. And they're told, if you don't do this, X, Y, and Z, have a jab, wear a mask, accept bullshit, accept that men are women and women are men, and men can have babies and periods, and women can be men can be women. You know, that couple of planes hit some buildings and 3 buildings fell down. You know, another plane hit the Pentagon. There's no bits of a plane anywhere. You know, we're being asked to accept bullshit. I mean, it is total. I mean, it's easily identifiable bullshit. You know, Nancy Pelosi's worth $300 million. She's been in politics for fucking 50 years. And that's normal. She's a better stock picker than all of Wall Street put together. That's normal. You know, people go into politics like Barack and his husband Michael, go into politics with nothing and come out, you know, $90 million richer. And that's not to say it's just in America, it's all over the world. We're being asked to accept a midget comedian actor in Ukraine is now the most strategizing, brilliant, war-minded president in history. And it's defeating those pesky Russians. As they try and blow up their own nuclear power plants. And while we're on nuclear power plants, okay, and there's another one being built behind me. You can probably hear the trucks and the, you know, they're building another nuclear power plant here. It's going to take like 10 years to build. Lasts for 20 years. It'll never pay for itself. And we're being asked to accept that that's the norm. That's the norm, right? Now, for you, those of you who've been on this journey with me for a few years, I did a video a few years back called "The Future Is Now, It's Very Bright." Okay? Now, in that video, I was actually down by the old power station, Sizewell B, when I did the video, so you could see that old power station there. They're in the process of breaking down now. That 3 patents were released in January of 2020, just before Trump left office. Okay, all 3 patents. Go back and have a look at the video. It's in the comment section, I think. Pinned comments, I think. Pretty sure. 3 patents were released in January of 2020. One was for a plasma-based electricity generation device, the size of a small car, produces the same amount of electricity that a nuclear power station does in a year in a day. Okay. Second one was for a room temperature superconductor. So the biggest problem we have in this world is transferring electricity from point A to point B, because you need substations everywhere to boost the power, because the power leaks out through the wires, and it's normal. You have to boost the signal for it to get from place to place. Whereas with a room temperature superconductor, you don't lose any of that power through light and heat. You lose nothing, and it transfers instantly, and there's no loss of power. So those two patents were released. The third one was for a triangular-shaped anti-gravity flying machine called a TR-20. Right? Now, all 3 of those patents were done by a guy called Salvador Pais, P-A-I-Z, from the US Department of Navy. So that's 5 years ago. Okay? 5 years ago. And here we are, building a $20 billion pound nuclear power station here because it's cheap and it's the best way to generate electricity, Chris. Now, I've spoken with people about this. I'm going to try and get somebody on from Sizewell to come on the channel and talk to me about this, because I want to ask some difficult questions, because they're not used to getting difficult questions asked of them. Now, if you understand, I used to work in mining in Australia, in the mining camps in Australia. I've worked on different mine sites. I've worked on gold mines. I've worked on iron ore mines. I've worked on different mines all around in Australia. Okay. Now, in Australia, we mine a lot of uranium. Now, I know, I don't have any doubt about this. I know for a fact that the Australian government subsidises uranium mining. Okay? So, this whole argument of, oh, but it's the cheapest form of electricity, Chris, when it's subsidised by the taxpayer. You know? And then you ask the obvious questions. Well, you know, we've had a meltdown at Chernobyl. Oh, but that was old technology, Chris. The new technology, the new ones are safer than ever, right? Japan, Fukushima, you know, had a big wave, hit it, and knocked it out. And apparently, there's still radiation leaking into the sea today. That was how many years ago now? Yeah, radiation doesn't go away, does it? But then we hear about molten salt nuclear power stations that actually has no radiation, but we're building a normal one here, right? Now, we hear a lot about this whole nuclear weapons proliferation, okay? The nuclear weapon proliferation treaty, where the only country in the world that's ever dropped a nuclear bomb, 2 of them actually, was America. Okay, Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan, Second World War, to end the Second World War. But yet America is deciding who gets to have nuclear weapons, right? Because other countries are dangerous. Okay, sure. Huh? Who won the Second World War? Who won that? Who won the Second World War? The Nazis won it, right? Didn't they? Nazis? Yeah, the Nazis still run Europe, right? Where did all the Nazi scientists go after the Second World War? Oh, that's right. Most of them went to America, Operation Paperclip, to set up NASA. And a bunch of the other ones went to America to set up the OSS, which became the CIA. No! Surely not, Chris. And then the rest went over to Argentina. Argentina? What, really? The Nazis? And then Antarctica. But I'm pretty sure we've already talked about that, right? But we're being asked to accept, no, Hitler shot himself in the head in the bunker. History is definitely telling us the truth. Now, I was asked the question, somebody asked a question on Twitter or Facebook or something the other day. Now, I think it was James O'Keefe from O'Keefe Media. He asked the question, I have come into possession of the Epstein videos from his island. Should I release them, yes or no? Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's the stupidest fucking question you could ask me. I mean, honestly. And I'll tell you why I think that, okay? We live now in a society where we're being asked, well, the Nuremberg Code. Remember I did a video about that 4 years ago? Nuremberg Code. And part of the Nuremberg Code is informed consent, okay? As a person being asked to accept a medical treatment or a medical experiment, okay, you have to be informed of all the dangers and what to look out for, blah, 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 of that. And then if you consent, it's informed consent, okay? Now, if you have people making decisions about which way our society should go, but they don't have all the information that they should have to make an informed decision, is it really a decision that we can rely on for a societal change? So the way that I think is that as dark and as ugly and as horrible and sick as the things that have been happening in this world, run by military, government organisations and NGOs, foundations, nation states, and corporations, of course. We were asked to accept that cigarettes are good for you. Doctors up until the 50s recommend Camels. I'm wearing a white coat so you can trust me. This is all, as we go further down this road, more and more information that we're being asked to accept as being truth is a complete falsehood. But because the information that would help us to make informed decisions is behind a barrier, meaning like all we hear about Epstein is like, oh, well, we're trying to protect the innocent victims of this monster that died in prison by his own hand, in a prison where all the cameras weren't working, and the 2 prison guards that were supposed to be watching it weren't really prison guards, but they were just there for that evening just to watch over the most high-profile prisoner that ever been in the New York State prison system, both asleep at the wheel, and none of the cameras were working. And he hung himself in a room with paper bed sheets. We're being asked to accept that as the truth. But now, on top of that, we're being asked to accept, well, we're just trying to protect the victims. You see, we're trying to protect the victims of these thousands of videos. We're going through all these thousands and thousands of videos to protect the victims, the children that were harmed. You know, like P. Diddy. You know, the P. Diddy cases. Oh, it's terrible things happen, trafficking and all this. And who do they present? His ex-girlfriend who got beaten up. I mean, honestly, that's the worst you've got. Come on. We're being asked to accept that the flight logs for the people that flew to Epstein's Island, and before you say it, I mean, oh God, I'm fucking so tired of people talking shit and talking about stuff they have no idea about. Oh, but Trump was on the plane. Oh, God. Yes, Trump flew on Epstein's plane between Miami and New York or something because Trump's plane was out of action. Did he ever fly to the island? Of course not. But that's obviously because there has to be this Trump, Russia, Iran, whatever bullshit we're being fed today, connection, that Trump was on the island and Trump's a pedo as well. Right? Why can't we have the Epstein flight list? Pam Bondi, US Attorney General, said, oh, it's on my desk. We're going to release it all. Gave it to a whole bunch of people who have podcasts, all Jewish, strangely. And where's Epstein from? Who was he run by? Mossad? Israeli? Oh, purely a coincidence, I'm sure. Purely a coincidence. So we're being asked to accept that no, we can't have that list. Why is that? Why is that again? Why is it that we can't know who Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's in a French prison, I think, arrested for child trafficking. No one's been arrested. But who was she trafficking the children to? We're being asked to accept all this, and it's like, because of the universal law that we've spoken about before, that in order for you to be cleared to do something, you have to tell people what you're going to do. And if they say nothing, they just accept it. Well, then it's fine. You can just go ahead and do it. Because, well, I told you what I was going to do. We told you, and you just went, okay, or just ignored it. Now, the problem is we are being bombarded and overwhelmed with so much information and so much nonsense and bullshit that people just go, fuck, I can't be bothered with it. I can't be bothered with all the politics. I can't be bothered with the nonsense. I'm just ignoring it all. Because it's easier that way, because it's all bullshit. And it's just painful to hear about it all day and all night. And Chris, you constantly listening to this shit, it's just affecting your mind. Do you think it's making your life better? That's a question I've asked myself as well, many, many times. All this information I take in, is it making my life better or is it making my life worse? That's debatable. I mean, you know, I come out to do these videos to share what I've seen, to share what I know, to share what I think, to share what I see, start conversations, and maybe have people think about what they see in the world and how they accept what they see as reality, just like in the Matrix. You're being asked to accept this stuff. And the more we accept it or we just let it slide without saying anything or pushing back or saying fuck off, then it will only get worse. You know, what was that? There's a line in a song. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. You want your children to have to put up with this bullshit, or you're prepared to stand up and say fuck off? So the reason I've done this video today, and I'm raising these questions and I'm asking you, what do you think? Do you think we're being tested to see whether we're worthy of moving into a higher understanding, a higher consciousness when we're willing to accept bullshit? I think we are. I honestly believe that we are being tested to see what kind of species we are and whether we're willing to accept paedophilia, bestiality, this whole transgender nonsense as the way our society should be structured, or are we going to say, hold on a minute, look, before we go any further with this whole thing, I don't dislike people who are transgender. I couldn't give a shit. You can live however you want to live. I couldn't care. That's your life. You get to do whatever you want with it. Don't care. Not my responsibility. Not my life. You get to choose it. Keep it away from children. But when you're indoctrinating children with complete bullshit, I'm sorry, but I have to stand up and say, we're not doing that. And the benefit, I think, to me constantly looking at information, whether it's political, geopolitical, crypto, all that kind of stuff, is it helps me make an informed decision about what I want to do and what I'm willing to accept and where I draw the line, make my stand. Now, if you've been here for a while and you've heard me speak about these kind of things, you know where I draw the line. I won't be governed by anybody. You're not going to tell me how I should live my life based on your fucking false reality. I'm sorry, because I won't accept it. And I'm putting this to you today because there's more of us than there are of the people that are making these decisions that are destroying our society. So if more and more of us have these kind of questions, we're questioning the reality we're presented with, we're questioning these things we're being asked to accept as being truth, more of us stand up and say, hold on, this far and no further, then the people who are trying to run this operation will either change course or they will continue on and be exposed for what they've been trying to do. And I think that COVID was the first step in this exposure of, are you willing to accept this? If you are, don't worry, here we are coming into the summer, and there's a channel I watch called The Digital Asset Investor. He's like, if you believe that, I've got an igloo in South Georgia that I'm willing to sell you. That'll probably last 10 minutes with the summers we have, So, an informed public, which is what I'm trying to do. I get out here and inform you of how I see the world. That's it. I'm not telling you the truth. I'm telling you what I see. An informed public scares the shit out of people that are trying to sabotage our society, to have us fight with each other and turn our society upside down and debauched into hedonistic, trust me, hedonistic was my middle name when I was younger, society that has with no morals, and the only important thing is how much money you've got in your bank account. I'm not going to accept that, and I hope you don't either. So, all that said, thank you one and all for joining me here today. What's your thoughts? What do you think about what I've said today, the questions I've asked? Do you think I'm bang on, or do you think I'm way off in the weeds? I'm keen to know, because I really do honestly believe we're being tested, and this test will ultimately determine whether we move forward as a society or whether we fall into the war and separation paradigm that's being built for us by people that want to socially engineer us to keep us stupid, keep us fighting with each other, and to destroy our society, to keep us from coming together and working together to achieve greater things as a civilization, or are we going to just destroy each other? So, that all said, go out into the world, do good, be good. You can change the world with the way that you think, the way that you talk, what you're sharing with people, and what are you putting out into the world. So do that, and you can make the world a better place. But most important of all, look after yourself, look after each other, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Ciao for now.